Hello and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy, and welcome to the show. You are joining us on a historic time here in the United Kingdom. Boris Johnson has admitted, for the first time ever, breaking a pledge. Well, I say that. It's the first time he's admitted breaking a pledge that isn't to his wives, girlfriends, or children.
Ow.
Just to the nation. So it's a big deal here, I'd say. Yeah, welcome to the show. We're going to be taking you through some of the news of the week, I suppose, of the era, as it were, solving the problems as comics only can do. And if you've not seen the show before, we started this when we're in lockdown, and we are getting a little taste of live gigs, a little taste of doing things out there. But after a year and a bit of solving problems online, they still seem to be there. So we're going to persevere. We're going to persevere. You can join in on the conversation by going to the YouTube channel. That's where all the chat is. That's where the cool kids hang out who are watching live comedy on a computer on a Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Those are definitely the cool kids. And as the show goes through, you can like the channel or like the show, subscribe to the channel. And if at any point you think, wow, what these guys are doing is amazing, you have to do it with that voice. You could chuck us a few quid, dollars, or we've taken Canadian money. And that was at the height of the lockdown.
Even Canadian.
That was kind of at the lowest point, I think. But you can do that with Ko-fi and put it in there. And yeah, we're just here to solve your problems.
Take some Bitcoin. Have a sweet slice of Bitcoin if you've got some of that hanging around.
I could taste that a little. Do you bite the Bitcoin to see if it's real? Is that how that works?
That's why it's called Bitcoin.
I never understood. Thank you for explaining that. You see? Problem solved right out of the gate. Wasn't even part of the show originally. Yeah. In the show now. Tick a box.
We're here to help. That's what we do.
Yep. So we're gonna got 4 problems to get through. I think, Steve, you get to give us the first problem to solve.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise to see what I'll be talking about today. The problem of increased national insurance. Yep. Sure enough, we're going to have to pay more national insurance, which, as you said, Eric, is a problem because it was in their manifesto that they wouldn't increase national insurance. What they've done is increased, and wait for it, national insurance. But that's not the only U-turn they've done. I mean, recently, a while ago, they were saying that they don't like the idea of vaccine passports, and yet on the weekend we heard vaccine passports are coming in by the end of the month. So, I mean, none of this is as bad as when Boris Johnson, there was a headline about him saying that there would be no more children till the complete tally has been undertaken about how many kids he's got. And no, he popped a couple out since then. So look, no one should be surprised that there's a U-turn. And it's more about, I'm amazed they owned up to it, because for a while there was a talk. Jeremy Hunt was saying that it shouldn't be put on national insurance. It shouldn't be seen as a tax. It should be a levy. If you're taking money out of my pay, it's a tax, my friend. Like, I love the way they try and get around it is by legally changing the definition of the word tax. And with this government, when we hear that they're upping the national insurance payments, it just feels like we're weeks away of them deciding to torch the whole UK and just make a claim on it. It's the only way they're going to make any money out of this. One thing that shocked me, and I was listening through some of the details, I'm not going to get bogged down in too much of the details, it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but one of the details was about how much national insurance we'll be paying and who pays it. And I was interested to read that pensioners will have to start paying national insurance. And I will be totally honest, I didn't realise pensioners didn't pay national insurance. I thought if you worked, you'd have to pay it. How are they getting away with it scot-free? Because look, national insurance seems like in some way it is meant to be, at least nominally, sent off in the direction of sorting out healthcare. Who's using an awful lot of healthcare? It's the pensioners. I've been in some waiting rooms and there's a lot of pensioners in there. Saying that pensioners shouldn't have to pay for national insurance is a bit like saying we should all, as a nation, pay for flood insurance, just not the people who live near rivers. They're the ones using it. Now, there is a pushback argument on this. It was in The Guardian. They were saying that pensioners have already paid their fair share. And I will totally agree. Say what else they've done. They've already taken their fair share of cover, because if you're 65, you've had 65 years of being able to go to the hospital if you needed to. You've done well out of it. I don't know what kind of injuries people would have had back in the 1950s. I presume they were worried about things like this.
You there. Yes, you. Yes. Does your workplace employ women? They can be dangerous. Their preoccupation with embroidery and dainty hands can cause accident. So, best keep your distance. Women in the workplace. When will the madness end?
So whatever they were worried about back in the 1950s,
Yeah.
I kind of look like I was dressed like I should be chasing a story in New York back in the early days of print media. But
It's good. Nice use of tech.
I got the technology and a new hat. Those people who listen to Time FM will be aware of that new hat. It was like a big deal today. But
Okay.
so they've benefited from having all of that healthcare for that long. So if you're still earning, why would you not still be paying for it? Because if the pensioners don't pay for it, I feel sorry for the young people. And it's not often I feel sorry for the young people. I don't really like the young people. They pick on me for wearing chinos. So, we're not really friends. But they've had an absolute terrible time of it. A disease comes along that doesn't particularly do them in as much as it does other people. And so what we decide to do is knacker up their education. Step one, brilliant. And that's fine. I'm not making a political point. I think it is good that we ruined the education of some young people. I don't like the idea of young people knowing more than me. And my two options were read more books and learn more, or knacker up their education. Boom, take a slice of that. And, I don't want to have to be competing with young people to try and get a job. They've got more energy, and I'm going to need to keep earning because it looks like I'm going to be paying national insurance when I'm old, which is an absolute rip-off. I've already paid my fair share. But young people have had a terrible time. And we also ruined any fun they could have. The last 2 years, they've had to stay in during their peak years. I've stayed in for 2 years at this age. What have I missed? Absolutely nothing. What would I have done anyway? Would have laid on the sofa and watched a lot of Netflix. I had the same time. There must be, and I'd love to know the number of it, thousands probably of people who would have lost their virginity over the last year and a half and couldn't. They have really suffered for what we've asked them to do. And now they have to pay more of the cost towards all the healthcare. Unbelievable. So that's one way to look at it. I also think it's unfair for the poor people. Big shocker that the Tories bring that in. Let's look at the rates that you pay for national insurance. Here's where the fun begins. There's a flipping table on the screen. Let's get stuck into employee national insurance rates. Let's ignore the 0% one. It's just going to make the maths a bit trickier. Up to, and now they say £4,189 a month just to bury the number. That's just over 50 grand a year. Up to 50 grand, you pay 12%. Over 50 grand, you pay 2%. They're both about to go up by 1.25% or whatever it is. But if you're earning just over 50 grand, like 12% of what you earn is going on national insurance. But if you earn just over 100 grand, your first 50 is paying 12%, your second one's doing 2%. So you're averaging like 7 point, I'm not sure what it'll go up to, but you're paying less as a percentage. So the rich people are still doing well out of this. The poor people are suffering and the young people are suffering. Damn it, that's my demographic. So then you need to add in the cap. They've added this cap in. There's a total amount that you'll have to pay towards care. £86,000 over a lifetime. Now, it was mentioned in Parliament earlier on that if you are a posh person living in the south, like you do, Eric, and you have a house that's going to be worth, let's say it's like 586 grand, you'll have to spend 86 grand, but you've got £500,000 worth of assets sitting around there that they won't touch. If you're where I'm from, up in Mansfield, if you have a house that's worth £186,000, you fancy is what you are. But then if you spend £86,000, you're only left with 100 left. Unbelievable. They've managed to make sure that posh people keep more of their money whilst poor people spend a bigger percentage of the little that they have. And we are not peasants in the temple trying to impress Jesus. It'd be nice if we just keep a little bit of our money. Damn it. Well, to find out more about this, I'm joined now by an MP from some posh southern area. Hello.
Hello, Steve.
So it's unfair for the northerners.
No, not at all. No, people in my constituency, the educated and affluent, will live for a long while and therefore have to pay for a lot of residential care. Whereas in the north, with your Greggs pastries, that won't be a problem.
All right, so we just eat Greggs all the time, do we?
No, I mean, in the south, people will have to fund care for both parents, whereas in the north, you don't know your fathers, so that is a saving.
Oh, we eat Greggs, we don't know who our dads are.
Well, now, you must remember that national insurance is only paid by those with jobs. So...
Oh, right, so we eat Greggs, we don't know our dads are, we ain't got any jobs.
Yes.
Don't you hate it when they make good points? So that's my analysis of what's been happening with the national insurance.
Yeah. I mean, a couple things there. I mean, one, your issue with people missing out because they didn't get to have their virginity sex. Speaking from my experience, I wish that I had missed out on that experience. At least at that time. It wasn't very pleasant. Got better. I got worse. I got better. Then it stopped. But anyway,
you talking about life or just that one event?
That one, a combination of the two.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I have a solution that will help the Northerners keep their 186,000 pounds and the Southerner keep their 586,000 pounds. Die early.
Okay. Well, that's...
Then no one takes their money.
Yeah, that's the advice. There we go, solving problems.
And, you know, thanks to the way the government's handled the pandemic, a lot of people have had that opportunity to save all of their earnings.
Wow. They really are a caring government, aren't they? They really are there.
Yeah.
Right.
They've given that opportunity.
You can be doing some chatting in the YouTube thing. The things on wherever you're watching this, if you get your ass to YouTube, then you can join in the little commentsy section. Yes. Exquisite Tenderness says, "You two still doing this?" No, we stopped a while ago. Yeah. I'm going more lefty and hating the right wing more, says Wayne. And it's not even our fault, is it? I mean, literally, if they bring in a system that just lets rich people keep more money, they're kind of asking to be hated, aren't they? It's almost like that's what they're aiming for. I'm going more lefty as I get older, says Alan, which is weird. They do say you're meant to get more right wing as you get older.
Yeah.
Which is why they want us to live longer. Oh. Maybe that's what they're doing. They're playing the long game. They're bringing in the medicine and the vaccines to make people get older and vote Tory. Conspiracy.
I think you've cracked it. If we were going to go down the conspiracy theory pathway, which would get us more viewers, that's a way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like being at the pictures, says the Couch Tripper. I think you should get some fake ads. Yeah, but they take a lot of editing. We've done them before. But it took me all day to do the flipping 1950s video effect. Let's have a look. I thought your name was Steve Nallen. Disappointed, says the Couch Tripper. Well, I don't do impressions, so you can jog on, I'm afraid. If I could do an impression of Steve Nallen, and thereby do all through the transitive properties of impressions, I could do all of his impressions.
Could do yourself.
I don't think he does, man.
Can you do an impression of yourself?
I do a pretty good bloke from the MASH report. Bloke from Late Night MASH.
We'll edit that out. You want to give us a little taste now? We waited until now to mention it. It's been 15 minutes. So.
Oh yeah, I've been absolutely gagging up here.
Do you want to give us a little taste of Tom?
The headlines on the hour.
Chills.
Yeah. There was one. There was one that you wouldn't have seen because it would have been edited out. I had to say the words "Late Night MASH News Desk," bringing you all the latest stories, and I said "Late Night Muff," and stopped. And I still think 2 out of 3 words is not bad. Meatloaf would be all right with that, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Keep the comments going through. Brit says Bojo actually meant to admit to breaking a plate rather than a pledge, or maybe it's his bottle of cleaning fluid. That explains the hair, doesn't it?
His hair's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
Somehow it's worse, which is defying the science.
Incredible.
Chris says, just to be sure, I'm neither cool nor a kid, dude. Good use of dude to underline your main point, your main thrust.
Yep, definitely shows that.
Where is the pocket sock? There's no pocket sock today. I did. Oh no, I was going to do a funny. My plan was to try and put a train ticket in there, but I forgot it.
Well, now it's there.
There you go. So many U-turns he got dizzy and accidentally he's been honest, says Victoria. Don't you hate it when that happens?
He's forgotten how many lies he's told. I mean, that must happen, especially to his children.
That's why he has a special advisor, with a notepad to keep this stuff written down. Wayne says, we need to insure the nation against twats in charge. You wouldn't get great rates these days, though. That's the only problem with that. I couldn't afford it. And Evening Canada, says Chris. They're having a chat between themselves. Do the thing. I'm a pensioner, says Chris. Fat kids need to change their lifestyle in order to be sure that they live long enough to pay for my pension. Interesting point.
Fair enough.
Thanks, says Alan. I'll get on with dying. Yay. Yeah, there's a lot of that going around these days. And then Exquisite says, I just camel. Now, you might have meant came, but the fact that you said camel works better for me.
You're going to take that.
I'll take that. I just camel too, which is very close to what we need to be talking about. But you can get your comments in if you're doing the YouTube, get yourself interacting, which will be a lovely thing for you to do. Meanwhile, it's time to solve another problem, and for that we turn to the desk of Mr. Erich McElroy. Right, where have you got?
Yes. Well, Steve, this is a problem of them pesky women and their vajayjays. Like, are you familiar with the vajayjay problems that exist out there?
I've seen one or two.
Seen one or two. Well, since 1971, women in the United States have had a constitutional right to have privacy over their own bodies, but men continue to try and invade their privacy, as it were. And a new Texas law just went into effect that could do about as much fiddling as you could possibly get away with. It just went into effect over the last few days. But it's got a nice little twist in it, in that citizens and not the state are going to enforce this new abortion law. So basically, I mean, if you ever watched Texas Ranger,
yeah,
everyone in Texas is now deputized to be a Texas Ranger over the women's vajayjay. The law is designed to be difficult for the courts to overturn because it isn't the government or the police who are going to enforce the law. It's just basically enforced by everyone. So you might remember Hillary Clinton once famously said it takes a village. Well, here it only takes a nosy neighbor. That's all you need. And it has led to protests throughout the state, like this one.
My body! My body! My body! My body! My body!
I'm just kidding, Steve. Those are actually Republicans who are protesting against vaccines by saying, our body, our choice. They're the same people who would happily report a woman who was going to have a constitutionally protected abortion. It's just showing you that in America, it is true that we don't understand irony, but that is because we're too busy living irony.
You do it.
Can't understand something you're doing all the time. It's very difficult to do. So it's kind of confusing. It's a complicated way of doing the law. Here's one of the people who helped push the law through. I brought her in to explain it to us.
The Texas Heartbeat Act relies solely on civil enforcement, private lawsuits to pressure abortionists to comply. This is exactly where you have a role. We need your help.
Have you ever wanted to infringe on a woman's right to control her body? Are you a fundamentalist religious extremist? Are you a rapist who just really wants to have a baby? If so, this is the law for you. But I know what you're thinking, Steve. I want to control a woman, but I'm not exactly sure where to start. Well, she can help with that.
If you are on the sidewalks at the abortion mills, or if you hold evidence of an abortion occurring after the baby's heartbeat is detectable, you can anonymously report that.
You can do it anonymously. So if it wasn't creepy enough before, now it's even better. And the law is in force right now. This is actually happening where anyone can ring up and anonymously say, I think that so-and-so went to get an abortion, right? And we can actually see the whole process because it's already started to happen. Here's actually one of the things where someone's been reported.
You have pled guilty to the practice of
Getting pregnant. Seamless edit.
Checks out.
Could you see the seamless edit there?
Edit.
We always wondered when Donald Trump said that he wanted to make America great again. What era did he mean exactly? And it turns out that era was 1692, in case you were wondering. Now, the organization that the lady is speaking from is called the Texas Right to Life, and they're the folks who are working to encourage all this unconstitutional snitching. But how's it been for them? the people that are working so hard to take away women's rights, because they're the real victims here.
Because Texas Right to Life served a key role in shepherding the heartbeat bill to passage, the unscrupulous abortion mob is reeling, launching cyber attacks, casting hexes, and threatening our team and the organization. While we recognize these broken souls as intolerant keyboard warriors who operate in darkness, we also share a healthy respect for our ruthless spiritual enemy.
Yep, you didn't mishear that. She said casting hexes, because it's not enough to just take away a constitutional woman's right to choose. It's got to get evil. It's got to get dark. And you got to think, I mean, is she nuts saying that? Yes. But where is it coming from exactly? It's because we've had some interesting warriors step forward to fight for women's rights. And one of the groups that has stepped in to sue to stop this law is, of course, the Satanic Temple of Texas. These are real people. I think they have been casting some hexes as well as laws. And I mean, if the story wasn't already American enough, I mean, and you know, you and I, we're not religious people, Steve. But, you know, looking at what they're doing there, I'm thinking that might be a religion I could get on board with. Have you thought about
if I could cast a hex?
Have you thought about joining the Church of Satan?
You got to knock on doors.
There. Satan. So there's some weird people coming together to fight this law, right? There's some companies, some other unlikely warriors are companies like Uber actually have come out against this because you can be sued for transporting someone to the clinic. So the way they're getting around all of the actual thing, it's annoying. It's this thing. It's called the Constitution. And so they're saying you can sue all these people around the periphery and you can do it anonymously, all these things. But one of the, if someone drives you there in an Uber, you can sue the Uber driver. We also have a company in America who stood up against this. Uber said that, you know, they're going to help protect their drivers. The other company that's doing that is Lyft, which we don't have in the UK yet. So if you're not familiar with Lyft, this is the company.
Stop the beat.
I think that's actually the car you take that gets you pregnant, just to clarify there. But the company has really stood forward, you know, in a way that corporate America wouldn't have even just a few years ago. They released a statement which basically said that this law threatens their drivers and punishing them for just giving people a lift, as their company name is, and that they made it clear drivers are never responsible for monitoring where their passengers are going, which I think is really great to hear from companies, you know, like Lyft, which we don't have here, or like Uber, which we do. I mean, I just wish that they would stop monitoring what I do when I'm in their cars. Maybe you could protect my privacy there. Just saying. But of course, yeah, not just wearing a mask, just the mask. Anyway. States all over the U.S. now are looking at this law to copy it because, you know, it's not just Texas Republicans who want to control women's bodies. There's Republicans near you. And there was a politician who's in Florida who's keen to take this idea and show us that he could, you know, take control of women's bodies, and also show us that he also has some significant issues, probably with the women in his own life.
There's a host body, and that host body has to have a certain amount of rights because at the end of the day, it is that body that carries this entire other body to term. The question is, what is the value of that life, and is it subordinate to the value of its host body?
Yep. Clearly, this man has never been touched by a woman. Sorry, I mean host body. How could he say that? I mean, what does he think that a birth looks like? He probably thinks a birth looks something like this. Of course, I mean, if a birth was like that, he'd have a whole different attitude towards it, because obviously in that clip, it was happening to a man. You know, so his perspective would be totally different. If it was, you know, in that case, if this was happening to men, you know, he wouldn't be talking about host bodies. He'd be there doing this.
Our body! My body! My body!
So there we go, Steve. Their bodies, our choice, I think, is the Texas way of saying that.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, though. If births happened like in the film Alien, they'd be over and done with a lot quicker. I mean, if that scene took like 14 hours, you'd check out and watch a different film. Just saying.
Well, it depends, because my wife works with women who have babies, and the first birth does take a while, but the second and third ones, just straight on out.
Like a t-shirt out of a t-shirt cannon.
Exactly like that. You've been through a birth.
I was the third baby, so I was like the luge.
You're like 5 days in, so.
Yeah. But the second and third alien that comes out of you, really quick. Yeah. Really quick.
Really, really quick. Yeah. If you've got enough left to feed the alien and other things, you have to take time to take care of that alien. But it is pretty scary. And hopefully, eventually, either Congress can pass a law, because the Democrats do control Congress, but barely, or the Supreme Court will wake up. But
did you ever think that in the future things would be better? I remember thinking that. Oh well.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Not anymore. But right, let's jump in to some comments here. We've got Cray Cray Vijay. What exquisite tenderness is said. And Alan Jolly said, sorry, Vijay for the horse. Is there a horse involved?
GG's. I think it was Vajig's. Don't get confused between your Vajayjay and your Vajiji. Because if you put money on one of them, it launches itself out of a trap at speed. Either way, actually, no, you'll have a great time. Carry on.
That's what that the Veterman, not the hydroxychloroquine, but the ivermectin. The one I did a piece about just last week. I can't say. Why did I come up with these drugs?
The one that you learned how to say for the first half of last week's piece. I love how by the end of it you couldn't do it. It's still written down in front of you.
It's gone because I don't want horse dewormer. Alan says, "Don't women have a right to their own passage to their bed?" Yes. I think that they should have that right. Shades of North says, did that lady on RTL call Planned Parenthood Clinic Mills? Good Lord, Martha. Yes, she did. Yeah. She called them abortion mills, which is, I mean, I don't even want to make the it's just...
No, I think you've got them on the stickiest of wickets there. That would be the first defeat that you could make them suffer, because they can't be mills.
No.
Surely a mill... requires, like, they're always built near a source of power or a river, and so you've got water mills, and you've got some sort of turning act. Milling has to happen, doesn't it, in a mill?
Is this kind of like when we had the argument over the columns that were appearing around the world?
They were not monoliths. Oh, this metal monolith, lith is made up of 3 pieces. We're
talking about fundamental human rights for American women, and you're like, it's not a mill.
It's not a mill. Think you'll find.
If you're gonna take away their rights, could you use the right terminology, please?
Yeah, but then you get the little crack, and now all of a sudden you can prove them that they're liars because they're calling it a mill and it's not.
Britt's got me having to sing here. Let's all sing Ebony and Ivory together in perfect hypocrisy. I can do that. Ebony and Ivory together. No, Ebony and Irony. There we go. I think you should do the singing.
Yeah, I don't think I should do the singing, and we both agree. Me and my singing voice agree that you shouldn't do either.
And Chris is going to Google that song. Uber Lyft, Alan says, the new Viagra. It's interesting. Once you see that sausage car, host bodies, for fuck's sake, says Couch Tripper. And Shades of North says, geez, Eric, what are you doing in an Uber that requires privacy protection?
Well, he's not going to tell you it's privacy.
I'm not going to tell you it's private.
Yeah.
I've got a right to that. And Texans don't mind.
So is no one else likely to find that hot, sexy talk? Host bodies.
Do you want to be my host body?
May I attempt ingress into your host body? No one else?
Do you want to be my host body? Like that?
Yeah, again, I think it was the only thing that was wrong with that in terms of sexy talk was the singing. Other than the singing, I think it was spot on.
Okay. I think we're caught up on most of the chat. Yep. The subscription link is there, the like link is there, and all the other good links are there.
And a quick mention, Brit saying, big up for the monolith gang. If it's made up of more than one thing and it's not made of stone, it's not a monolith. Right.
Whatever.
On to the next story that I wanted to solve for us. This is a story about Food, right? We eat out to help out was a thing that we're trying to solve the problems of the world. Eventually, now we're all free. Maybe we should be going out and spending some money and making the economy better. Where could you go and do some spending to fix the economy? I'm saying not here. Celebrity chef Tom Kerridge has defended an £87 price for a sirloin steak in his pub. In a pub, £87. Sweet mercy. That is a little expensive. I would say to Tom, if you're listening, and I know he's a big fan of the show, you're running a pub, not a motorway service area. That is a disgraceful cost. So let's go through some of the things in the story we can learn about what kind of food's available there. He said that he's spoken out to defend the price tag of £87 for a burger, which makes it even seem cheaper. I guess it's a sirloin steak with a bit of bread near it, but £87 for a burger. And in the newspaper, it said it sells it at the Hand and Flowers. Now, I don't want to be gross about this, but if I'm dropping £87, I'm telling you what that hand needs to be doing. I'm going to order a Happy Meal. It's the only way it'd be worth it. So, if we go through some of the prices, right, you can get lamb for £69, save yourself some money, don't be spending that ridiculous money on beef. A spiced venison loin, £60, and a side of cabbage is £7.50, which is kind of annoying because normally I find it really funny that cabbage being used as a replacement for a meat for a vegan dish is often charged at exactly the same amount of money that they charge you for the meat version. And I know I shouldn't laugh, but it is kind of funny to be sat there and someone's having to spend proper money on not even a whole cabbage. Let them take the rest of the cabbage home, the amount of money they're spending on it. Slice of cabbage with some sauce on it. There you go. Is that replacing a steak? Is it? So, in the restaurant / pub, you can get smoked salmon dish for £42, and all desserts are £26.50. And I think it's time to say, Tom Kerridge, well done. You have achieved something that has never before been achieved by a pub, by any form of eatery, any restaurant. No one has ever done this. You've made me not want a dessert. Well done. Touché, Mr. Tom Kerridge. Excellent work. Do you want to see the dessert menu? Do you want to shove it your ass? This is why I probably shouldn't go to a place like that. Me being all northern about it. But there was a tweet that kicked it all off. Someone went there and said that it describes itself as unpretentious and a proper pub. And then it costs all that. A proper pub with those prices. Is it a proper pub from the future? Is it broadcasting back from the year 2150 because that's when that food will cost that much money? But right to reply and all that balance, right? Yeah, we're sitting here, we're mocking, we're saying that's a little expensive for your food. Let's see what Tom Kerridge has to say. He said, those prices include everything, VAT and service. Oh, that's all right then, because I was going to buy a steak for like £26 and throw 60 on top. Just big O and get yourself something nice, darling. This is a pub after all. What unbelievable. Now, he didn't just say that. Of course, for me to edit it there again would be harsh. So, takes the VAT into consideration. The 10% service charge, it's already included. What else? He says, also, I pay staff properly and treat their job as a professional career. Good. But what career? Is it bank robber? Because I don't know why they're walking away with that much money. They managed to bring a steak from the kitchen to the pub table, and they're getting £60 for it. Fair play. But it's not the first time he's been slightly dear, slightly rich, both the sources and the customers. It's not the first time he's been criticised for steep prices. One of Kerridge's restaurants serves Britain's most expensive fish and chips, costing an eye-watering £32.50. And anyone who's been for fish and chips recently will know that story's right. That's about £3 too expensive. So you're up to date. Would you... I mean, I didn't solve that one, really, other than just don't eat at a place that tries to charge you nearly £100 for a meal.
Well, a couple of things that stand out there. One, he wouldn't have to charge that much VAT if he lowered the price of the burger, because VAT is on top of whatever price. So if it's a £10 burger, £2 in VAT, that would lower the cost right there. Yeah. Another thing is, for the vegans, they do need to pay more because it takes, even though it's just cabbage or whatever it is, it takes time for somebody in the kitchen to actually have to shape it like a burger.
Chop, chop.
So where the burger just comes out of the cow like that.
Yeah. Have you never been to one of those places where they literally, it just looks like a slice of cabbage? It's still got cabbagey top, but they've just gone chop, chop, Bit of sauce.
I don't eat cabbage in a public place, Steve.
Okay. Well, that's what you do in an
Why
Uber.
would I do that?
Bloody knew we'd find out what it was.
Yeah,
He's in
exactly.
the back of that Uber.
That's what the mask is. My cabbage mask. Finally, having come from America where we make good burgers, and then having been in this hellhole dystopian state for the last 21 years where you cook every piece of meat to death and turn it into a brick,
It's already dead, hopefully.
I would pay to have a nice, juicy burger. Now, if he does cook it well or well done, then I would take that brick and I would... No, I don't even want to say. But if it's cooked nicely, and if it's pink in the middle and still mooing, I would pay for that.
You're right. If I
Can't
were in
get a
that
good
restaurant
burger here.
and knew that I could get a burger steak thing for £87 and they said, how do you want it cooking? Rare. And I'd be like, even rarer, about fucking never. Because that's my attitude. This is why I never get to
But
go
you've never been to
fancy
America, so you've never tasted good food.
places. Is that what it is? Is that
Yeah.
why the obesity or the food's so good?
It's so good.
Can't say no to it.
It's the New York slice.
But it doesn't cost 87 quid though, does it?
No, that's the other thing. It's cheap, so that's why we're so obese. It's good food, good portions, cheap food.
Is it
Like,
good
you know,
portions though? Is good portions the correct phrase?
It's good. So you don't have rights to control your own body, except when it comes to putting stuff in your mouth.
I mean, you're right. That would solve.
Don't know
both-
if that.
both
I have to
problems.
clarify what you're putting in your mouth in that context, I suppose, don't I?
It would reduce demand on
I mean,
the mills. Yeah.
It's going to have calories either way,
Yeah.
and it will be rare.
87 quid.
Done.
Very rare these days. What? Let's have a look into some of the comments. Where do we get to? Can we watch? Says exquisite tenderness. Probably about you in the back of a taxi by the thought of it.
Yeah, definitely.
We're in the middle of an election here right now. In Canada, this is. Shades getting into
Oh, yes.
The cons here cannot be trusted to protect old age security and the Canadian pension plan. It feels like there should be a joke at the end of the Canadian pension plan. It's just like a vat full of syrup or something. It's got that kind of, feels like it needs a punchline at the end of it.
It is more expensive than oil syrup, a barrel of syrup.
Is it?
Yeah. I think you can back me up. Shades of North, can't you? It's true.
Is that how it works? All right. But I mean, it still would not power a car that far. Or maybe it would. I don't really know what it's made of. Let's have a
No
look.
one does.
Brit says, we've done the monolith gag. Hypocrisy, says Chris. Hopefully about the comments, nothing to do with what we've just done. Mr. Kerridge is at least making the rich less rich, says Brit. That's true. Normally, and we've talked about this on the show, I love the idea of billionaires wasting money going to space because it gets that money out of a bank account and into the employers. I mean, I call them the employees, but I guess they'd be referred to as the minions by Bezos. But, you know, the underlings, the henchmen, they're all taking out money that is then they're spending on goods and services. Maybe you have to ditch your northern accent, Steve, if it's a proper pub, says Alan. Is that what you think? They wouldn't let me in? Because of my northernness, or because I sit there going, 87 quid, you can shove it up your arse, mate.
I remember getting around in, was it Newcastle? Somewhere, and it was £12 for 2 pints and a glass of wine. And myself and we were all Londoners up there, and we all thought, made a mistake. £12 for 3 drinks.
No,
Then we were back again, and then again.
Whereas the reverse of that is me being from the Midlands, taking my other half out for a drink in Hackney, me having a pint, her having a glass of wine, £5.50. Not that I've memorised these, so I can tell this as a story to my fellow Northerners. £5 bloody 50 for a pint of lager down south, and the glass of wine, £9.50. I said I want a glass, not a bottle, love. But you know, that's how I'd talk to my fellow Northerners. £9 bloody 50. I'd have the old bottle for that down the offie. So that was whatever that is, 14 quid, ridiculous. I was like, 2 drinks. No wonder they have shandy down here just to stretch it out.
But it was worth it, right?
Was it? Yeah, I'm sure it was. Syrup and moose meat, says Shades of North. It's supplied free after 65. Oil is from a cannabis. We're progressive. Yeah, all right. So you get your state allowed moose meat allowance.
I love a bit of moose.
Yeah. And we can have that as your dessert, can't you? What's for dessert? It's a nice mousse. And Chris says burger suppositories, which I don't know if that's anything to do with what we're talking about, but it's a great phrase and a very useful Wi-Fi password.
I think you did say shove it up your ass about the burgers. That's what it's a callback to.
Right.
That's what I'm guessing.
Or just a request. Were you meant to Google that? Because you typed it in the wrong bit. You trying to go
We'll watch it back. We'll watch it back later. Pick up those references.
Nice. Have you done your second one? Have we both done our second ones?
No, I've got to do my second one now.
Sweet. In that case, Mr. Erich McElroy, let's take these off the screen.
There we go.
You've got your paperwork done. And let's go for the fourth.
This is the second one. This is the fourth story, final problem of the show, which will solve everything. And this is the problem of being a Trump supporter. And I know you must think it's easy to be a racist hick who supports fascism and insurrections, but it's not. Because you have to go to events with other Trump supporters and you have to fit in, right? And in order to fit in, you have to do stuff like this. Am I in the wrong place? All that buildup. I go to P. There we go. Maybe like this. There you go. You've got to do this to your car. Look at that, Steve.
Ooh.
That's someone's actual car that they have decorated to demonstrate that they support Trump.
Just a little sticker would do.
A little sticker, a bumper sticker, but this is a bumper side paint, right? Trump won, so you've put the big lie on your car and then too big pictures of your own faces, which I would not want on there. I mean, I guess the only saving grace here, as I did imply that Trump supporters are racist, is that these guys are Vietnamese. So maybe that's a good thing. Like, because it's America, and it's the land of opportunity, even other cultures could become racist, fascists. So that's good.
The American dream.
The American dream, totally. They've done banners as well, as we can see here on the side of a gold boat, a couple different ones. I do like this one. We've got Chinese Americans for Trump, which is nice. Trump 2024. I love this one. Everything woke turns to shit, which, is an interesting point. I don't know. Does everything woke turn to shit? I mean, does it? I mean, maybe they put that banner up. I don't know if they'd seen this van, though, because... this is so many problems on this. We're going to have a little closer look here. We've got, this is the Ivanka part of that. Keep America Trump 2028. Now, I hate to break it to this guy who has put this on his van and clearly spent a lot of money here, but Ivanka won't be around in America in 2028. She will be in a non-extradition country by that time. She's not going to be there anymore. And if we take a look at Trump, oh boy, that's quite a Photoshop. It's yeah. Now I would imagine the only thing that's true about that image is if you did take Trump's shirt off, he would be all shiny, but more from KFC chicken grease.
Yeah,
that would be
nice.
That would be what's gotten him shiny there.
Attractive.
But you know what, Steve? You know what happens to people who do this to their vehicles and make other people, nice people like us, have to look at these vehicles in the public space? This is what happens to those people. They get taken to the big house, Steve. And because that's actually not totally true, because it's not technically a crime to have an ugly car or bad taste or support someone. But that is actually the leader of the fascist group Proud Boys going to jail after attacking a black church that had a banner on it that said Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. And I just wanted to show him getting arrested because he went to jail this week. So I didn't even have a joke about it. I just thought, he's going to jail for 5 months. And that's a good thing.
Don't know about the boys, but his mother can't be proud.
No, definitely not. Because it is, there's been some other problems for other Trump supporters. I think we all remember the QAnon shaman. Remember this guy? Shaman. Yeah, also a fashion mistake. Is that how you tell if somebody is going to be, a fascist or somebody who wants to be part of an insurrection, is that they just have to have bad taste in clothes and car decorations? Is that the tell?
It helps.
I don't know. But he basically has pled guilty of supporting Trump and invading the Capitol and all these kinds of things. He wasn't guilty of supporting Trump, but he's guilty of invading the Capitol and trying to support an insurrection. But his lawyer, if everyone gets a lawyer in America, came forward to explain why he got involved in this traitorous act and how he came to support Donald Trump.
And for the first time in 2020, or leading up to that election, he felt like there was a politician whose message that he heard was one that he felt was spoken to him.
Okay, he was just sitting there. He's like, yeah, this racist, xenophobic message really appeals to me. This is the guy I've been waiting for. But you might say, Eric, there's lots of racist xenophobes out there, who didn't attack the Capitol. What made, the QAnon shaman different? Why did he go further, in his support and his love for Trump and take it to the next level? The lawyer explains.
He had a fondness for Trump that was not unlike the first love a man may have for a girl, or a girl for a man, or a man for a man. The first love always maintains a tender and soft spot in the heart of the lover.
That's right, Steve. There's nothing like the love between a man and his Führer. I mean, former Führer. I mean, former president. But, you get what I mean.
The love that should
never forget your first.
Yeah.
So, is that a good you kind of, after listening to the lawyer, kind of understand why he's going to jail. If that was his defense. Yeah. He just loved the guy. Who can blame him? Have you seen him with his shirt off?
He felt like that lawyer started talking about someone else as well halfway through that. It's like the first love that a young guy fresh out of law school feels for a woman who lives down the street. Yeah, sure, she was dating someone else at the time. It was very much going down a different path, that story.
Yeah, and she's my cousin. But still, there's no one forgets their first.
First cousin, yeah.
Exactly. Would you paint your car like that?
No.
Would you do some...
I mean, No, unless somehow the car was knackered and needed a paint job and that was free. But even then, no, rather have it knackered. I mean...
But Ivanka, she's a nice-looking woman.
Yeah, but what is it going to achieve? Like, sure, you're letting other people know that you support Trump, and that's it. That's the end of that entire message. All that money is an absolute waste. It's not going to help her get voted in.
Yeah. Can you imagine? They must get a lot of those calls. Have you been in an accident that was definitely your fault? Because people just, I don't know why, but people just keep rear-ending me lately. Since I got that paint job. I don't understand what's changed.
Donald Trump as Rocky Marciano. Good lordy.
It's painful. Right, so we have a look at the final comments before we go. Chris gave us a "that's why we're banned from Tesco," but I don't know what it was in reference to.
I'm guessing shoving steaks up bottoms. I mean, I've not tried it, but you're right. That probably would get you banned from Tesco.
Yeah. Well, especially if you use the horse meat ones.
Or you could...
That wasn't Tesco.
It was Tesco, yeah. Tesco with the horse meat, yeah. I had a horse steak shoved up my bottom, and now I'm in a stable condition. Hey. That it was.
You should take the Intervet.
Yeah, take that one.
If I can't say it, if I can't see it, that's the problem. I don't have it written down.
I've never shoved a whole Tesco steak up my bottom, but those little bits of mince, cram that right up there. Well, every little helps.
Enjoying that too much. Britt says it's amazing how Trump's body has improved after not having access to his White House Diet Coke button.
Oh, that's made me want a Diet Coke now. No, I take your point, but I've got a right thirst on.
Press the button. He had to be careful because he pressed the wrong button. Wipe out all of Russia. Shades of North, back from Canada, says this is the same guy who reconciles being a vegan while wearing a dead animal on his head. Yeah, that's right, because he had to get vegan food when he was in jail as well. And Alan Jolly, a fondless for Trump. Is that meant to be fondness?
Oh, that's good.
Fondless for Trump.
Fond.
I'm not sure what that.
Fondness.
Fondness
that's
for
what
Trump.
Yeah. God, that took us longer to work out than it should, and you could tell it's the end of the show.
Britt says, I'm happy to, I'm guessing, hand out a human-sized key to scratch up the paintwork nightmares. Yeah. But then the problem is you'll end up in jail with the Proud Boys guy, and that's not good.
Yeah.
So got to be careful. Got to be strategic about these things, Britt, and don't do any crimes. We don't fondle. Oh, a fondle for Trump is what Alan was trying to say.
Still prefer none of the above.
Maybe because of the first love. You have your first fondle. You always remember your first fondle. I do. Nancy, Germany, staircase.
Strange surname, but she was German.
That was On a Staircase.
Ah.
It's very
the
romantic.
name was On a Staircase?
In Austria.
Why did you call her Nancy?
No, it was On a Staircase.
Are you calling her Nancy just because she made out with you on a... No, she's called On a Staircase.
Her name was Nancy. We were on a staircase. It was in Austria, not a basement.
So why did you mention Germany?
I meant Austria. We were on a trip that went to both, but the fondling began in Austria.
Wow. No wonder you want privacy in the back of an Uber if that's what you do on a long trip.
That's what I was trying to allude to before, but everybody missed it.
Trying to make out with a woman called On a Staircase. Did I understand the story? No. It seems like I did. We just lost Eric, and Germany's probably hacking his system. Doesn't really look relaxed. He looks very relaxed there. So while we wait for Eric to get back, we'll see if he's with us. And I think we're almost done. That leaves, basically, if we're still streaming, just time for me to say, you could chuck some money in the pot. That would be very much appreciated. I know what's happened. He's just holding the pose. He doesn't like to continue a conversation about his nascent early day romance with On a Staircase. So he's pretending that the signal's gone down. Okay. Yay, you never forget, Eric. Didn't even remember which country it was in. I think we're all up to date with most of the comments. You can watch the full version of this again on YouTube. The link is there. You can watch the edited highlights of this on YouTube, which I guess for Eric will include putting together comments about how his home nation has that problem with Trump and the abortion laws. So, yeah. But you can watch the bits that I've been doing. They'll be clipped down there as well. In a second, we should get Fresh Eric. Fresh Eric is coming. There he is. There he is. He's back with us. Are you back with us, Eric? You can't hear what I'm saying yet.
Hold on. I've got to fix my speakers. Can you hear?
We can definitely hear you. We can indeed. So I was just wrapping
Internet collapse there.
Wrapping up all the places that you could watch all of this. There'll be some clips on social media. Our usernames are right there. I enjoyed this, says the couch tripper by. He left before you did, by the looks of it. And thanks, fella, says Shades. Nice break today. Well, hopefully you had a nice time off. Right, I think we're all sorted. If there's anything else you need to plug?
Nah. Is there any? Is there anything? I've got no idea. But no, this was fun until I got dropped off at the end. At least that's good.
Yeah, not mid-joke.
You didn't hang up on me, did you?
No, but On a Staircase, hack the system.
Yes, but yeah, we'll be back next Tuesday. We'll be watching you on Late Night Mash on Thursday.
Yeah, 10 o'clock on Dave. I'm doing my Time FM shows every day other than tomorrow, which are 2 till 6. But more importantly, I don't know why I think more importantly, but I think it's better, the podcast version is available. It's like 15 minutes of your time. It's all it takes instead of like 4 hours of radio. No adverts and songs in there. So you can track me down on social media and get that podcast for free. And starting on Sunday, 12 o'clock, if you live in Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire or Buckinghamshire, or the world that has the internet, I'm doing an afternoon show on BBC Three Counties Radio. Back on the BBC. They can't keep me back.
Wow.
They can't keep me back, but they didn't.
Nice. Look at you.
I'm back. Managed to get
very good.
Get almost all of my works come back. Almost, not quite.
Yeah, I told you.
There. I will live another day. I am
but the good thing
is
of
a murdered wife, father of a murdered son. Wait a minute.
Can I get dropped off the call again?
It took this way too seriously. It was only a radio show, Steve. Jesus.
Yeah. But it is the BBC.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Can't even be mean about the BBC now. They got rid of the MASH report thing, but I can't say what I'd normally say about them because I want to try and get some of this sweet Three Counties money. But follow us on social media and you'll see what we're up to, basically.
There we go. Yeah. And definitely come back next Tuesday, if not before, to watch us.
Whichever comes first. Till then.
Whichever comes first.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this from Comic Solving Problems.
And if you feel like it, go ahead and like the video.
Or subscribe. Commitment.